Yo, yo, yo. Welcome back to the channel. AMC update. All right. You know, it's crazy. And I'm starting to notice that maybe I'm a little bit more stupid than I thought I was initially, but remember we've talked about how they just keep doing the same exact thing, where they shoot the price down at open, shoot it back up, and then do this consolidation, whatever. They did the identical thing the following trading day on December 27th. And then we were laughing because they did it on December 28th, but inverted. So they did it like upside down, but the same thing pretty much. And then today, December 29th, boom, they shoot it down and do the sideways thing. Now, sorry. This one's a little different because we pop back up here. And remember, we were talking about... Oh, let me talk about why I'm stupid. So I'm stupid because they kind of do the same thing, like, always. Look, you see these where the let me actually, I'm gonna make it a little bit easier to see. When I go to regular and then go to session breaks, and we'll go to, there you go, we're on the 5-minute with session breaks on. And you can see that for the most part they've kind of always done this kind of jump one way or the other immediately at open and then consolidate with AMC. Like, they don't, there's never really like a major kind of directional change intraday. Well, I guess this one would be an exception to that. Oh, I remember this sell-off. Yeah, so but for the most part, like, this happens a lot of times. Maybe I just never noticed it because it's never been so like in your face, blatant, like repetition as it was these 2 days, which is goofy. But yeah, so this is a common thing. I mean, overall the market does open hot, right? So normally you get some direction at open, but I just thought that this similarity was just so significant, and it made me kind of just peek back at the chart. So something to keep in mind. All right, so as far as what we're looking at, it's pretty much so the same kind of general things, right? Remember, we were talking about this potential ascending triangle that was forming. We actually broke down out of it here. Let me remove this trend line for now. We broke down out of it, and then we tried to get back in, and then we broke back out of it before we ramped up towards the end of the day, and then we held within it. This is really good. You know, this is a pretty good sign of strength for the stock. Not Wyckoff related, just a general sign of strength thing. I'm sure that this is actually a pretty key horizontal support if we draw it here. Nothing too crazy here in December. Let's zoom back a little bit more. What is it? $26.60. Yeah, so we actually kind of held this 26.60 before the big drop off on December 13th. And so, you know, you held that as support, which I'm sure is a Fibonacci level somewhere on the chart. And then you zoomed back into the ascending triangle. So what are we looking for going forward? Well, my sentiment is generally the same as what it was in my video yesterday, which is you want to see a continuation if you're a bull. You want to see a continuation of this shorter term uptrend, which I will say you have done here, which is good. We can extend this too and see if we have any other supports or resistances historically here. Probably not. It's kind of steep, isn't it? Oh, look, yeah, you kind of held here before the June run. You have a couple resistance points back here in April. You see here where price gets forced down. It actually held a support temporarily here. Right here on April 7th at like $9.86 before you got sent down. You got resistance before you eventually broke through. So this actually is a key trend line here. Historically, pretty interesting to extend those trend lines and see, wow, look at this. Way back here in July of 2020, you can see the same trend line was an ultimate support point here before you had a general uptrend. We're going to be coming to the end of it here. Yeah, I mean, you can kind of see a little bounce right here back in March of 2020. This would have been around the COVID collapse in that general accumulation region that began from there. But yeah, so you definitely have this is a key support key trend line here. That's interesting that you're holding here on Wix. You bounced out of it, you hit this 2660 level, which isn't a very significant level from a trading perspective, but I'd be interested to look at the Fibonacci's, and then you bounce back into this ascending triangle. So overall, I'd say that and obviously on the day you're green, you have a bit of a doji candle that you formed here, I suppose. You have a similar candle here on December 27th. Didn't really do anything for you in terms of reversal. You had like maybe a pop up here on the 28th, and then you got sent back down. These are the repetitive days that we've been talking about. So yeah, overall, man, it's like I guess you kind of have like this sort of bull pennant forming. If you really want to focus in on like take the wicks off and you want to look at uh just the daily closes here, you have a bit of a bull pennant, which I don't use too much on AMC, just because I feel like historically it doesn't really want to do anything with these bull pennants. Let's go on a smaller time frame and see if we can narrow it down a little bit more. Kind of looks like I mean it does resemble a falling wedge, you could say. So yeah, I mean you got a few good things happening here. What you really need is volume. You need a change in the volume trend here, because the volume has been pretty bad for the past week or so. So you definitely want to see that reverse. I like this as a falling wedge. You take the wicks off, get rid of some of that trading noise, and even if you put the wicks back on, now you can see. I mean, this is a falling wedge. Okay. So overall, this is good. This lines up with what we need to see from the stock. Okay. Yeah, decreasing volume and the falling wedge. I can't believe that I didn't notice that. Usually I have a good eye for wedges. Let's see. Make this a brighter color so it's easier for you guys to see. I don't want it to be too noisy. Get rid of this line here. So yeah, you ultimately held your 382. And you bounce up here, you're heading towards your 236. So again, this is relatively a bullish retrace, which in the status of the stock, I like where the stock stands today. I don't know if you're just gonna hold this sort of bullish retrace in this manner. Like I would expect a deeper retracement after all of the downward pressure that we've seen on the stock in recent weeks and months. It's just kind of odd that you would just typically it's odd. Normally in this sort of motion, you would see a more steep retracement, really test bulls here on the shorter term before you see that reversal. So you do have to look out for that. Let's see where this wedge takes us. Like if we bring the wedge to a point, which it doesn't have to trade to a point, but it this is where you're still in that range. I like this wedge actually. I really am actually coming to and the more I look at it, the more I just look at it, the more I like it. This seems significant. Seems like a significant wedge in my opinion. So what do I expect? Going through the rest of the week. Okay. So remember, this is your ascending triangle support that we have, right? The recent bull trend that we were establishing with these 2 stupid days where we did the same thing in a row. You broke down out of it, you come back in. You're still in this wedge. What I would say is, and remember, this is your triangle top right here. So let me change it to the same color. I'm using it as like a more of a block, a region, um, if you will. What I would say. Okay. Oh goodness, I'm gonna do the Dave thing, aren't I? Look, going into tomorrow, because remember we have our fibs, boom, right? So these are the levels that you're going to be looking for. You found support on your 382 ultimately. This is good. You've done that multiple times now. If you do get shot down, I'm not saying that this trend line is dead. If you get shot down out of it again, you could be building up a case for a bear trap type of scenario, right? Let me change the color of this so it's a little clear. I know I got a lot of noise on the chart right now. I'm sorry about that. I'm usually a little bit more efficient. So here, right? If you bounce there and then you find ultimately support, then you're still in a good bullish range. And honestly, this is a really undertraded region that you're looking at here, from like $26 to like 25.33. This is very undertraded, which would be your point 0.5 Fibonacci, and maybe even a little bit below it. So if you sink down below here, you build up some volume support, boom, and then you bounce up, you're gonna be in pretty good shape there. I I mean, you do have the potential though. It all depends on where the volume stands. If you open and you have high volume, I would generally expect you to just kind of bounce right up here, maybe continue this ascending triangle, retest it a couple times, and then get sent up. That would be like the bullish scenario. And I suppose based on my recent sentiment, that aligns. I would expect you, from a recency, like what I've been looking for, everything like that, and what I've talked about as my bias, I would expect you to at least hold this $26 level. I think that I think you could be in shape for that. I think you could be in shape for that. Maybe a fake out, one more fake out to the downside, and then get sent up. One more fake out to the downside. Now, another thing that I've been noticing, that's like a famous Dave quote. If you're new to the channel, it's like a meme. Let me guess. One more one more fake out to the downside. And obviously, I can't guarantee it's one more, right? Like I mean, it all depends on volume at that point. But you do have this sort of, I was noticing this pattern today when I was just playing around in the chart. Let me change this to the same color as. So obviously, you have like this big old whatever. I don't know if this is a pattern. This is just support and resistance. Okay. I mean, some people would say this is like a bull pennant or something. I'm not talking about it in that. I'm just looking at trend-based support and resistance, right? But historically, you have had this repetitive kind of, and if you will, cycle that has been occurring, that I've noticed, and it's a little bit more macro, and I'm sure it's happening on micro scales as well. But if I draw this blue block, that's kind of fun to say, blue block. I draw this blue block, and then I draw. Oh god. And I draw like a resistance trend here. Let me take the extensions off. Turn it red like the others. Just like the others. And then I draw. So you see how you have these touch points where you have the steep downtrend, you bounce right up off your blue block, you hit the red resistance trend, you kind of bounce around here sideways underneath it. Underneath it. Hold on. Is that where we are? You bounce around underneath it. You bounce around underneath it. It's possible. Okay, let's see. Point some arrows at it and just try and coordinate. I'm sure you can see the similarities that I'm talking about here. So let's draw here, ultimate support within the blue block. Here. It's just a thesis that I just kind of like. I looked at the chart, I just looked at it, and I was like, damn, like these are really similar moves, right? Like it's kind of creating this like inverse head and shouldery kind of move here. And then if you look at the green trends, it kind of does the opposite, right? Where it kind of inverse head and shoulder breakout, in a regular like slanted head and shoulder breakdown, inverse head and shoulder breakout, a regular head and shoulders breakdown. So yeah, so I mean, we could be rounding it out, and another thing that I was noticing too, whenever I was doing this, was Well, this one goes underneath here. So is this one okay? Let me keep drawing arrows. Sorry. So is it three? Three steep pushes down. Yes. Three steep pushes down. So then this would actually be here, perhaps. And then what do you have here now? Have yeah, see this is why I don't like to mess with the cycle and fractal stuff because what you end up getting it's so fractalized, man. Like this chart it just repeats itself over and over and over again. You meet this resistance trend. Did you do it here? Is the question. You break out, do you come back and test? You do. Sorry, I'm kind of just doing this in real time now. I apologize. It's not the best for content, but I mean whatever. I'm just trying to. I'm just charting. Do you come back here? I'm sorry. I'm kind of confused. If anybody wants to, oh, there you go. See, this looks good. This looks really similar. See here. Have a boom, 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 break. Right. Let's see what we got here. Boom. I'm not trying to confirm my bias. I'm trying to have to remember, like, what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to actually analyze it, what it is. But I do think that this probably aligns a little bit more with that from a cyclical standpoint. But it's so repetitive that it can be frustrating to try and boom. So is this valid? Okay, you have a similar trading region happen here, like an accumulation that occurs. Boom, you kind of roll over underneath. Okay, I like it. I'd say that matches. So what do you have here then? You have send down. You have another send down. Have you broken? Are you gonna have you already retested? Oh. Let's do fibs, and maybe that'll tell us a little bit more. So Fibonacci on your see you go deeper on this one. Deeper, okay. Deeper. Real-time problem solving with Dave. That's what you're doing. Okay. So if we measure from the first yellow up, we got a 272 when we broke down out of the box was our ultimate support zone, pretty much. So if we do the same thing here on our first yellow arrow, and this is more like an extension, you would say it's a Fibonacci extension. I'm using the retracement tool, but we're counting it as an extension. And see, you go deeper here, 414. Where are you at now? Obviously, this is all very speculative. Like I'm clearly just kind of winging it. So I'll have to sit down and like fiddle around with this idea a little bit more. So maybe we do the extension from the bottom to the top here before your downtrend begins. And then where do you ultimately find support? Your 1618. Ooh, this might be. See how it bounces off this 1618 here? Make it white a little bit easier to see. 1618. All right, so now let's go from the bottom here where you ultimately bounced. No, you didn't go lower when you got out of the blue block. Wait. Oh shit. Are we on a big one? Look at this. You kind of come back around on this 1618. Fibs are crazy, by the way. What the hell? Whoa, dude. That's kind of wild. I'm expecting that. Let's real-time technical analysis. This is the stuff you came here for, isn't it? We break out of the blue blah. What do we get? We get 1618 here. Hey, we're getting somewhere. We get 16. Wait, how did I get the 1618 before? Dude, I'm way too stupid for. I was Oh yeah, this was the 16. Oh snap, dude. Like okay. So what does this tell us though? Like what's okay? And then if I extend this over, does it become a Fibonacci over here? It sure does. You're not familiar. Not same thing. It bounced off of this 272 here. Jeez, dude. Okay. Okay, so I mean, I would be interested to see some people in the community kind of play with this idea, and maybe you guys will come to different conclusions than I did. I feel like this is pretty good though. This is a pretty interesting pattern that we're developing here. Now, what does it mean? What it means, at least in the short term, and it's a little bit harder to tell what it means in the long term. But where's my path? Hello? At least in the short term, if this thesis is a valid one, then this would mean that you would eventually come back and retest this upper trend line, right? It's never not done that. Boom, boom, and then you would have a third one here, and these are all these crazy head and shoulders. Now, what happens from here, I would assume, is really dependent on volume, which is very annoying and repetitive to say, and I'm tired of saying it. I'm sure you're tired of hearing it, but it's yeah, this is a weird stock, guys. All right. All right. It's a weird stock, man. I mean, I don't know what to tell you. I'm trying, but I do think that this is something worth messing around with from a cycle perspective, because it appears that this is somewhat of a behavioral trend for the stock. Let's just put it that way. All right. Let's extend the blue. If it now you had like this double bottom in the first one, right? But you kind of get the same result, this big pop up out. So what if this is that? I'm probably missing something. I'm probably skipping a part of the process. So I need to do this when I'm not recording probably. But I think that it generally looks pretty good. Now, keep in mind, I mean, okay, this is a really good support trend. Okay, I'm not saying it isn't, but you do have to keep in mind also that how many freaking of these bull flags or whatever the frick have you seen since you've been following AMC? I mean, we had one here, right? Like, or whatever you want to call this, pennant, whatever. We probably had one back here as well. Steep this. Guarantee you if I extend it back, right? So like people were definitely drawing this one. This one probably goes even further back. Yep. Yeah, I mean I'm sure I was drawing this one personally, right? So like we've had this effect a bunch of times, okay? And so the reason that I'm saying that is like I don't want anybody to get the wrong idea and take from me that, oh, this is the ultimate bull support trend. Like I do not think that we can conclusively say that right now, okay? Like I don't. If you I mean, look, this bull trend, this is the all-time bottom for the stock. You have 2 touch points here, boom. We broke right through it, okay? Like butter. And I'm not saying that always means whatever, like this thing's gonna fail no matter what, but you just have to be mindful of both sides of this thing. But I think that this is definitely something to pay attention to. As I'm looking at it, just look at it. I'm seeing the 3 pushes down. So is this that third push down, or is it this? But it doesn't touch here, so that's weird. I don't know. It's a weird stock, guys. What are you gonna do? All right, so that's the video. Those are the things that I'm looking for. Like I said, just to summarize, because I know I kind of bounced around and did some crazy shit just now. To summarize, we're still looking at that potential ascending triangle off of this long-term bull trend, right? So we want to see what you want to see on an ascending triangle like this one is you want to see price continue its upward motion, and you want to see volume begin to come in as this thing coils up and tightens. Okay, so what I mean, I'm not necessarily saying it has to break out this week. You can obviously see that this thing extends pretty far, but you want to see us come back up, test this 29 at least. Probably going to bounce back down, at least test this support region. We could confirm that as support and then break out here, or we could continue to consolidate within this region. This is a key trend line though, so we definitely don't want to spend a ton of time below this 2660. You want to stay in this range. If you don't stay in this range, then you're starting to have the conversation about the lower 20s at least for further consolidation. So those are the things that I'm looking for in summary. Hopefully you enjoyed the video. Have a good one, and until next time.